Everybody, and welcome. Let's go ahead and get started with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Maria, you want to lead us on invocation, please?
Lord, we praise you and ask you to guide us in this meeting. May we be united in the spirit of mutual respect and in the healthy exchange of ideas. Help us to work together for the good of all in our community. We pray these things in Jesus' mighty name. Amen.
Thank you, Maria. Okay, so officially call the meeting to order and establish a quorum. Pilar,
Chairman, you have quorum.
we have a quorum, and do we have any call-ins today?
Yes, sir. You have Director Rhodes on teleconference.
Okie doke. All right, thank you. All right, first item on the agenda then, we have a proclamation. You want to handle that, please?
Yes,
Pilar?
sir, Chairman. So we have a proclamation issued by the board for Director Ezequiel Reyna Jr., who served from February 2018 to January 2026. Whereas Ezequiel Reyna Jr. was appointed by the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court to serve as a member of the Board of Directors of the Hidalgo County Regional Mobility Authority on January 9, 2018. Whereas over his 8-year tenure, Director Reyna has faithfully served the authority through the financing of the 365 tollway, the planning of the International Bridge Trade Corridor, and the partnership with the Cameron County Regional Mobility Authority for the development of FM 1925. Whereas Reyna has been a dedicated leader in the Rio Grande Valley, shepherding projects and creating opportunities for the community. And whereas a Westago native born to migrant farm workers, Reyna holds deep-rooted values of hard work, service, and compassion, and a commitment to integrity, honesty, and helping others. And whereas after earning his Bachelor of Science from Texas Pan American University, Reyna completed his doctorate of jurisprudence at the University of Houston and began practicing law in 1980. In 1984, he won his first multi-million-dollar case. Whereas Reyna founded his law office more than 45 years ago and has earned the recognition of one of the top 100 trial lawyers by the National Trial Lawyer Association, as well as wide recognition for his relentless advocacy, courtroom skill, and unwavering commitment to justice. And whereas in 2025, Reyna was honored as Businessman of the Year by the Rio Grande Valley Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, a distinction that reflects his leadership, integrity, and longstanding dedication to the community. And whereas in addition to his professional and business accomplishment, Reyna and his wife Livia are deeply philanthropic, and having established the Reyna Family Foundation, supporting students and education across the Rio Grande Valley. Whereas his alma mater, the University of Houston Law Center, unveiled the Ezequiel and Livia Reyna Hispanic Heritage Classroom and the Hispanic Heritage Wall of Honor, recognizing Reyna's long life contribution to legal profession, diversity of law, and the Hispanic community. Now, therefore, we, the members of the Hidalgo County Regional Mobility Authority Board of Directors, do hereby extend our heartfelt congratulations and gratitude to Ezequiel Reyna Jr. and express our appreciation of his service and dedication to the Hidalgo County Regional Mobility Authority and to the citizens of Hidalgo County. Passed and approved this 24th day of January 2026.
Thank you, Pilar. Very fitting. We acknowledged Director Reyna at our last meeting, and again, he's going to be missed. We thank him for his service and certainly wish him all the best and know he'll still continue being active out there. We understand that Commissioner Fuentes has appointed his replacement in Mr. Joe Olivares, and I understand that Joe has served the RMA in the past, and we look forward to him coming on board soon. All right. Any public comment?
No, sir.
No public comment. Okay, then we'll move on to item 1, the chairman's report. We've kept on there, I've asked to keep under my report the Western Hidalgo County Loop System Development. And basically, for the record, I'm just going to read a little bit. Some of what I'm covering here, we're going to cover more in detail throughout the course of the meeting. But just to kind of have a top line, big perspective, I'll read the following. The RMA has primacy for the Hidalgo County Loop project, which includes the 365 tollway. The authority had entered into a low bid construction contract, into a low bid construction contract for the project, including a post-award value engineering change proposal option and process. The total construction cost for the project with contingency was $289 million. Because the project is funded, as we all know, in part by toll revenue bonds, the project's opening is critical, and as we will depend on the tolls to service our debt. We all know that the contract time ended on September 25th, 2025. At that time, the project was about 71% complete. Liquidated damages began accruing at $16,500 per day. We know that there's been, with the contractor, claims of utility delays ranging from 395 to 520 days. They say beyond their control. The RMA's GEC, or General Engineering Consultant, has verified 208 days of compensable and excusable time relief under TxDOT standards, specifications, and TxDOT has issued a concurrence with the GEC's analysis. The parties had started negotiations, but had been unable to come to an agreement on compensation and time due to the contractor, or offsets for liquidated damages, nor for establishing a new project schedule to complete the project. We also know that there's an important Pinden Canal crossing with the irrigation district that has not been accounted for yet in this post-contract time schedule. That's kind of the status of where things have been and where we're at. I will now report that, as I said earlier, we're at 70 to 71% complete, and I'm pleased to report that the Hidalgo County Irrigation District number 2 has executed a mediation agreement with the RMA to resolve any pending issues. And the first mediation session with the district is scheduled for 26th and 27th. Pilar, is that still the case? 27th. So in just a few days. Staff has also finalized a mediation agreement with Pullis Construction, the contractor on the project. We can now report that the mediation agreement has been executed by the RMA and by the contractor, Pullis, and a mediator has been agreed upon. So that's the status of the project as I have listed under the Western Hidalgo County Loop System Development, and that's as we know it today. I think obviously we all know and understand the staff is hard as work out there daily trying to keep the project going, and the board understands the importance of the project, and together with the staff and with our legal counsel, we're doing all we can to move this forward. So very happy to report that both those things we have been working on literally for way too long, I think we can all agree, are now signed, and we're hopeful that that's going to help us pick up the pace. In addition to that, I'd like to report, still under this same item, that we all know, as it took place here in our public meetings, that the authority contracted with Consor engineers, and they were selected to prepare the environmental clearance documents for sections A, C, E, and F of the loop system. Staff is negotiating disciplines and rates for the work, and we should have a contract ready sometime this next month for the board. So that basically brings us up to date and lets us know where we're at on the loop. We know it's all hands on deck, making every effort to get this done and to continue, because we fully are all aware, and we've said continuously, what this means to the community, and what we know it will do in our community. And so we'll press on. I can say, still in my chairman's report, moving off of that item A, unless there's any other comments or questions related to item A. If not, then moving on to item B, we have the annual election of a vice chairman and secretary treasurer for the authority. I understand that there's been some history in how this may have been handled, and the secretary treasurer has moved, but I'll entertain a motion to fill these positions.
Mr. Chairman, I'll go ahead and make a motion to nominate Carlos as the vice chairman and Mr. Williamson as a secretary.
Very good. Got a motion. Do I hear a second? A motion and a second. All those in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Congratulations, gentlemen, and thank y'all. Very good.
Well, you did accept,
All right, very good. Then moving on to item C. As you know, we also instituted some committees a few meetings back. I can report on behalf of the administration committee, who is also serving as the executive director selection committee, that while our timeline has stretched a bit, our goal was, as we all know, and we're grateful to Pilar that he's here with us right now and continuing his good work. His retirement date was officially, I think, January 31st. We're a little bit past that, but I can report that the committee has interviews scheduled all day tomorrow, and so the process is moving along, and we will hopefully meet our goal of selection of our new director within Q1, albeit a little bit later in Q1 than earlier in Q1. But the process is continuing, so just give you a quick update on that. So that's what's going on with the admin committee. Do I hear any report, or do we have any report on the revenue committee?
No report we did not meet this past month, but I would like to report that we did something that we did in December 2025. Myself went out to CCRMA, and we did visit with the staff that CCRMA, Campbell County RMA, will be handling our collections. So we did go out there and did visit. And we did think it's going to be a process, but one thing that we all agreed on, that we better get started as early as possible, because there are many steps that still need to be done. So,
Did everyone hear that? Okay, thank you, Director Williamson. I appreciate that. That's our revenue committee. And as far as the project status committee, I fairly certain that Director Rhodes understands that he's chairing that. I believe he he's online, but didn't ask for a report specifically from him. I don't know if we have anything, but if you're listening, Director Rhodes, if you'd like to say anything, feel free. Okay, it sounds like perhaps he's muted. So for now, we know he's online. If he has something to say, he can jump in and interrupt. Otherwise, I'll say that we'll get a report. I reported pretty much on the project myself. That's pretty much all in my chairman's report, the latest, and I don't suspect that he has anything further. So we'll move on then to item 2, staff reports.
Chairman, Directors, we have a report on program management activity for the 365 Tollway project by Ruben Alfaro, and then will be followed by a report on construction activity for the 365 Tollway project by Ramon Navarro.
Thank you, Pilar. Welcome, Ruben.
Good afternoon, Chairman, members of the board. Ruben Alfaro for the record. I'm going to give you a summary of the overweight permits and some development updates. So for the month of January 2026, from January 1st to January 31st of the current year, we issued a total of 5,218 permits for a total amount collected of $1,094,900.48. That represents a reduction in amount of negative 7.69% and a reduction in permit numbers of negative 9.96. These difference is basically because of the change from $200 to $206. So that's why we see a smaller reduction in the total amount collected versus the total permits issued. From that, $21,510 with 48 cents were convenience fees for a total permit fees of $1,073,390, from which $912,381 with 50 cents went to TxDOT, and $145,354 with 50 cents went to the RMA. And that represents a negative 7.10% change versus 2025 this same month for the RMA collection. Moving on to the latest 3 years comparison. Actually, we have 4 years here. We can see that we're above 2023, but we're still below what we saw for January on 2025 and 2024. So same thing for the month. Since it's the first month, it's the same numbers that we see here. Again, negative 7.10% in the fees that came to the RMA. And basically, these would show the latest 4 years yearly cumulative. As we see here, we don't have additional months, so we're like, it still shows that we're below 2024 and 25 in collections. Then for the accumulated overweight report from January 1st, 2014 to January 31st of 2026, we have issued a total of 459,732 permits for a total amount collected of $82,738,068 with 48 cents. From there, the RMA has received $10,850,753 with 70 cents. That's all I have for the overweight reports. Some development updates. We started the base fee negotiations with Quanser Engineers for segments A, C, E, and F. We did receive their proposal for the base fees. The staff is currently reviewing it and will probably provide comments this upcoming week. And we'll start the negotiations with them for the final base fees. After that, we'll negotiate the scope of work to begin, and then we'll proceed with executing the contract. We did submit the build grant applications for 365 toll segment 4 and section A. The deadline was today, and I'm pleased to announce that we submitted for both build grants a little bit less than 25 million, which is the maximum amount for both of them. So we expect a decision before June 28th of this year. So by that time, we should know if we get those grants to advance the projects. We did have a meeting regarding the creation of overweight, oversized corridor with the city of FAR city managers. We're still looking into that. The city will look into it on their legal side if they're able to do it, and if we're able to administer it, and then our legal will also review what we can do and we can't based on those conversations. Regarding public outreach, we did a presentation at the RGB Rail Advocates Conference on January 30th. Ramon was there with me. He presented construction updates, and I presented our strategic plan. And then we do have a presentation at the Far Bridge Connect on February 26th, which is Thursday. We'll present about our overweight, oversized corridor and the benefits that it brings to the industry, so that we keep that outreach going, so we can get those numbers up. And that's all I have for my report.
I was quite clear on that, the meeting with the city of FAR and creation, what, what, what all entails? What does it entail?
So that's for the creation of an overweight corridor in their municipal streets that connects to our corridor. They're very interested in it. We just have to go through all the legal reviews and make sure that that's something that they're able to do by statute or by whatever allows them to create this. I had a brief conversation with Blakely. We're looking into it, but the cities on their side, they have to look at it into the legal.
What does that bring to the island?
Sorry?
What does that bring to the island?
So we would, it was the discussion that we had about the revenue generating. So we would administer it for them, issue the permits, and they would pay us a fee to do that.
It's really a permit for the last mile to get them to their destination off the state highway system. And that's why a lot of vendors are doing it, it's because they can do the last mile. Because if their facility doesn't front on our roadway, on our permit, our overweight corridor, they're not using it. And so this is to cover the last mile, which is on a local decision. Yeah, and my understanding is, Pilar, but this is, in the year that I've been here, plus that request has come from several municipalities that have a similar situation where that quote last mile or that portion is not covered. And then of course we know that it's caused some issues with, you know, uh, them uh, someone cracking down on the overweight corridors, the DPS, and fines being issued, etc. And the reality, I think, of what some of that ends up being. I'm saying this, I'm thinking, but sometimes it's like, do they get the permit, or are they gambling on the on being fined? And so, hopefully, this would be a potential solution. I've got two things I want to point out here under your report, Ruben. Certainly, if there's any other questions, we'll keep going. But the thing about this that I think is very important is, and it's worth highlighting, is staff is being proactive and leaning forward and looking for ways to what can we do to help in our communities, because that's a request that we hear from the community. And as I've said before, we're Hidalgo County RMA, and we have multiple things going on. Yes, we have a big, giant, huge project going on right now, but we also have other things like outreach, and I'm very happy and want to thank you for the outreach efforts, you and Ramon both, all of the staff, because it's very important for the public to know what it is that we're doing and the good work that's happening. So thank you for that. Any other questions? Go ahead.
Just another comment. Could we, or do we have already some protocols on what we're asking of the cities, or the cities are wanting from us? you have protocols for the cities to follow and how to get there?
That's what we're working on.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yes.
We did it by in order. The pilot project was in order. But it was still. Didn't get legislative.
We have
And so,
our
so
liaison here, but
from
you have
from
any
the
comment?
conversation that I briefly had with Blakely, it may require legislative effort by the cities as well, so that they can get that authority, and then we'll administer that system for them. But we'll have to have something to bring to the cities that we can tell them like this is how you get it, and then have them push for it as well.
Our liaison, and would you like to make any, if permitted, Mr. Chairman, to allow our legislative person to come and maybe give us some thoughts or?
Oh, certainly. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Renee, go ahead.
The right day to come.
You picked it.
No, gentlemen, chairman and members, directors, thank you for allowing us to be with y'all today. So this stems back from a interim charge that came out in 2024, if I remember correctly. And it's not just overweight corridors. It's really tied to overweight corridors that allow fuels trucks to go on there. If you're talking aggregate, the legislature has no issues with that. And that's where the rub is. And the two chambers couldn't come to an agreement last session. There was draft after draft after draft. I know I probably wore up Blakely's computer a few times. But we're going to take this back, and obviously it's going to have another discussion because of the importance of moving overweight corridor products. So that's what happened there, Mayor. Now, if there are any other questions, we'll be in the back.
It can be done administratively.
It can, however,
Just for Hidalgo County, there's
the posturing the agency is taking, we're going to let the legislature tell us what to do. But it can be done and I think when they do appoint a chairman, that's when I think we should go have a meeting. And we'll be tracking that and updating you.
Well, it's maybe under this topic, it's maybe an okay time, but I took note for a separate reason, totally, but Senate Bill 29, that I just can't speak real intelligently about it. I just read a real quick little bit on it, but it's this idea of passing legislation so that Texas can continue being the business-friendly state. And this is aiming directly at Delaware. As we all know, Delaware has a lot of companies that are incorporated in Delaware, and they're, the state is making a push to try to be at the forefront of being business-friendly. And so the reason I'm bringing that up right now is because the topic that we, as the RMA, have at hand right now is a business-friendly topic. We've got to find ways and solutions to help our local businesses because we understand there's issues. And we've been made aware of that, with the fuel issues, and we're here to try to work together through that. But we have lots of, as everyone knows, produce and many other things right here in our economy that are businesses that need this help. And so hopefully with your advocacy and all of our urging of our legislatures, we can continue pushing to try to perhaps, and that's the vision here, right? That's the dream, is that the RMA doesn't just say, okay. On the contrary, we're saying, we're here, we have a purpose, there's a reason why we exist. And yes, we understand the big projects we got going on, but there's many other things we're trying to do, and this is one of them. And it'd be terrific if we can keep the press, the full court press, if you will, to try to find a solution that's needed in our communities for these businesses.
Chairman, one more comment on that same note. A consideration that we're going to present to y'all, and we'll send it in the form of email to the staff and you guys, is playing a bigger role with the RGB partnership. I don't know if Mr. Williamson's on there. I don't know if you guys are or not. But the reason why next year, at the turn of the next legislative session, they bring down last session of what? 60 members and staff from all over the state of Texas. It's a great opportunity, and the partnership does a great job of, these are the 3 issues that we're gonna brag on, or we're gonna talk about, so that you don't overwhelm them, but we have a regional voice that's talking about our commerce, our trade, water, infrastructure, and so forth. So we'll be providing with more information how we can incorporate this entity into that discussion. Yes, sir. Anything else?
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, anything else for Ruben, Mr. Alfaro? Hearing nothing, thank you, Ruben. We'll
Thank you.
bring up Mr. Ramon.
Good afternoon, Chairman, Directors. For the record, Ramon Navarro, the Chief Construction Engineer for the Hidalgo County Regional Mobility Authority, here to provide you with a brief overview of the 365 tollway project. I'd like to compliment the Chairman for his summary, and pretty much well captured everything that entails the detail of the 365 going on. We do have a toll integration project that also incorporates it's being incorporated through the 365. This is the installation and integration of the systems that will be doing the actual collection. And that was issued to CSEC Construction back in July 6th of 2023. The capital cost was originally issued at approximately $8.3 million. And we do have an operational and maintenance fee of 5.7 that has not yet been touched, for a total operation cost, or a total project cost, of $13.9 million. To date, we have issued 2 change orders, or 1 change order, and 1 is pending, dependent upon the outcome of the civil structure and the timing on the schedule for the civil structure. But currently, the total cost is approximately $14.6 million. It's gone up the $645,000 for the original change order to the toll collection system integration project. We have paid out approximately, got to get these in. We have paid out approximately 31 invoices for a total of 4.6 billion. That puts us at approximately 72%. I have I have for 52% complete. And as mentioned before, we have not touched the maintenance cost. And we're looking forward to a timely resolution to the civil engineering aspect of the infrastructure project, so we can get going and wrap up incorporate the tollway system improvements. As you can see, the impacts to the schedule, we were planning to go live on the 26th of January. We are now determined to go into going live on January of 27, hoping to incorporate the factory testing and get all of the business rules and development. There's a lot of work we need to cut out before the September deadline of this year. One of those is coming before we've touched with the policy committee as far as coordination of policy on the discount and exemption programs for the fees coming forth that we will be allocating. One of the items to discuss is an exemption to the veterans, peace officers. These are all legislative items and legislative authorities that are all incorporated. They are required through the Texas Administrative Code for emergency and medical vehicles, fire department, police, etc. Military vehicles are also exempt. One of the options is for to give the discount to veterans. I know that there is some concern on, well, how are we going to distinguish who is a veteran and who's not, maybe he's got a vehicle registered and somebody else is driving it and we're not charging them fees, etc. All of that goes into play as far as a registration, and requires them to go to the back office of the local tolling agency and register as a veteran provide evidence and proof. They require license plates. They need to provide their documentation, etc. All of this has conveniently been done already through the CCRMA. Through the subcommittee, we are recommending that we go with CCRMA as our toll management system operations. And this will be further discussed with the subcommittee for a recommendation next month sometime. And I just incorporated these slides to bring the entire board to speed and have any questions or concerns brought forth so we could answer those through the subcommittee prior to next month. With that being said, any questions on the toll integration aspect of the project?
What is the veterans discount? How much
They
is it?
they are free, they travel free through they're non-tolled. They're exempt from toll.
Is there historical data available? Like, what's the percentage of veterans that travel on toll facilities?
We did run that study through our environmental CNM, our tolls, tolling and feasibility studies. The leakage for veterans, for public busing, emergency services, that was a minimal, and there was no direct concerning impact to our fees or to our collecting services. But like we said, we'll come before the board next month with a recommendation and have a discussion with the subcommittees.
Most of these will already be registered as such.
They should be, yes, sir. For exception of the people that are in Hidalgo County, they would have to go through the process of getting the formalities incorporated into CCRMA if the board so chooses to go with the Fuego tag. That could get convoluted, yes, but I'm sure there's laws, and that's why we have likely.
No significant impact. Is that like less than 1%?
Yes, sir. I believe it was. I think it was 98.9 or something to that extent. We'll get that document to you, sir, for reference.
Anything else? Someone, well, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Done on this. It has nothing to do with this portion. Go ahead with your presentation.
Moving on to the 365 Tollway project, as the chairman very well summarized, we issued notice to proceed on March 17th of 2022. We issued the contract with 1,264 calendar days. The deadline was September 23rd of 2025. We had 4 holidays with a total of 7 days that were avoided throughout each year. Liquidated damages are assessed at $16,500 per day, and the total construction cost that was submitted was $932,420.25. We did go through the VECP changes, which are the majority of the first 6 change orders, to come into a savings of approximately $14.2 million for the agency and $38 million overall. $30 million of that went into a milestone payment for production to the contractor, and we summarized those in a 20, 40, 60, and 80% final acceptance. Those later were impacted due to an unrealized cost savings on change order number 6, and that milestone went down to a $3.8 million payment. We continue on with the change orders in the course of direction. We last month authorized change order 17 and bringing before the board 3 new additional change orders this month. Those are all capturing, one being the San Juan Main Canal, one being hardware and details for the irrigation district's requirements and specifications. And the third one is for pipe also meeting requirements of the the Hidalgo County Irrigation District number 2. Those are coming before the board later on during this meeting. We continue with basically making amendments and amending some of the work that's been done out there right now. Our primary item of location of work is between Jackson and Military Highway, the retaining walls, the levee work, and of course the foundation basis for the roadway. A lot of this is dependent upon moving of the levees and the irrigation structures, which we hope to wrap up sometime by the end of this week and get a commitment and an obligation from the irrigation district to be able to move forward on what those betterments are, and then taking those betterments to the contractor, to PCI, to be able to get to the table with them and issue out a schedule and direct work directives as far as getting their schedule in line and working to accomplish the financial supports and change orders that we need to change through to wrap this up in a timely manner. Another item that they continue on is the CRCP, or the continuously reinforced concrete. Crews did come down from Houston last Monday. Unfortunately, they did a week's worth of production. Some of it had some issues, and they returned the crews back to Houston this week so that we could work out the deficiencies in their production, to be polite. Overall, as the chairman entailed, it's 72% complete to date. They are 145 days into the 208 days we have assigned them for the AEP impact on the transmission line. This will be negotiated through the time impact analysis or agreements that we go into. We've issued 47 estimates to date. As you can see, the production was a little less than 0.6% this month, which is not very productive. And overall, we've got approximately 2.6 million in liquidated damages and total payout of approximately $193,940,845.93 on the project. I am open to questions and concerns at this time.
Any questions? That's not a question, well, yeah, it potentially a concern. And that's this idea, as we all know, and I reported that we signed a mediation agreement. And so, again, I've said out loud here, and anyone who knows me knows that this is not my world. It's not one that I live in the construction world and contracts like this, of this nature. However, if my gut is serving me well, I think it's going to be critically important for us as staff. You're out there on the front line. As we go through the mediation agreement, that number one, that this is not a slow walk, if you will. I can't stress enough okay, we're there, we've got an agreement, we've selected a mediator, but this idea that we've got to get through that, and then, as we work towards the completion of the project, this phase of the project with this particular contractor, it's just going to be imperative that we just really, really stay on this. We don't want to be here next year and have a similar conversation. We've got to watch this every step of the way. And obviously, I look to you folks, to staff that are out there in the field making it happen. But I just think it's important that we highlight that to ourselves.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Ramon.
Well, I have a quick question. Blakely, maybe you can answer this. Is the mediation a requirement of our contract?
Sorry, I'm not very good at this. It's an option of the contract. It's not required.
And who is the mediator? Do we have it scheduled?
We,
Good.
I've got his name. I don't,
Brian?
Brian Carroll. So each party picked 3 prospective mediators. Brian was on both of our lists. And so because we both identified the same one, we opted out of doing the ranking process. And Mr. Carroll, unfortunately, is not available until May for a 2-day mediation, but we've agreed to a 2-day mediation process.
I hadn't heard that part about not being available until May. That's,
It's 4 months away.
that's, yeah, that's, I don't know. I don't guess there's any, is there, Blake, anything we can do about that?
Well,
Is there,
I mean, we could go back and rank the mediators as we'd initially discussed. We could, strike Brian out. The survey that we got from Mark Stroop on the mediators, I mean, April was a long shot for any of them. There's not it's not a big pool of folks that do this kind of complicated construction mediation. All of these folks have experience, at least on our list, with large tech stop projects and complicated disputes dealing with time analysis and things that, I mean, these are complicated issues. We may be able to push it up to April if we selected a different mediator, but I don't think we could go. We'll be successful moving earlier than that.
Another question, since you said it's not required, what can we do in the meantime if we're having to wait till May to push the other avenue?
So you've got 3 change orders before you today that should help start pushing work through the irrigation district. Three components of irrigation district jurisdiction that have been stalled. So that's one thing. I mean, Ramon can talk more about where we are with an additional AEP delay, but that one's a little bit more vexing. I'm not sure why we're not progressing in that area.
As far as the 3 change orders before the board today, those are the primary foundations that need to be set before any of the road work gets done continuously anyhow. So it is imperative that once they start doing these crossings and these irrigation crossings, they have to do the soils, the foundation, the roadway, the basis. All of that would progress efficiently, and the contractor has wanted the financial commitment from us to be able to go forth with those changes in the field. They have given that to us. Of course, they've done it before, and we're going forth with hopefully they're honoring their word. But we will do our best, and we will implement policy and specification and the timeline and move forth as diligently as possible.
I'm in agreement with Mr. Chairman. I think that better communication should be done with the chairman as to timelines, because I like him, would like these projects to move as soon as possible.
Yes, sir.
yeah, no question, trying to stay on top of it and close and figure out a way, to get these things done. That's why in my chairman's report, being able to have an agreement with the irrigation district is I think a win. We now have something in place that both parties have agreed to, and that's been quite an obstacle. We understand they have their reasons and why they're the issues that they presented along the way, but they're serving the public just like we are, and where we sit, our responsibility to that same public is to get the road done. And so, yeah, we're going to do that. And yeah, I suspected, Blakely, that's obviously the case. You can't just get in. You need somebody who's proficient in this specific type of mediation. And when I hear that far down the road, then we just, anything we can do. And I think the message is clear. And we'll see today's change orders as they come through. Hopefully that see how we handle those. But, you know, the message is clear. We're trying to do anything and everything we can to move things forward sooner rather than later.
Yes, sir.
And I can see how perhaps trying to pick another mediator and then checking their schedules and stuff, it may not get much better. But at the same time, that's the reason for it coming up. We all feel the urgency of getting the project moving forward. ¿Qué más? Anything else for Ramon? All right, thank you, Ramon.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate the work. Okay.
Chairman, Directors, the next item on your agenda is the consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the governing body and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussions of these items. However, if discussion is desired, that item or items will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately.
Mr. Chairman, there's no additions or corrections or any other items that make a motion to approve this.
I've got a motion and a second. All those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That carries. Next item, Pilar.
Yes, sir.
Regular agenda item 4.
Chairman, item 4A, resolution 2026-22, consideration approval of agreement with AEP Texas to install electric distribution facilities for new electrical services for the 365 tollway project. Again, Chairman, Directors, we've got a lot of appurtenances in the 365 tollway, traffic signals, luminaires, tolling equipment that require basically a service, a meter and a pole and a transformer to get that power to. And all these require what's called aid to construction for the power companies. And AEP has not done this. We tried to get them to do it in one work order, for lack of a better word, but they crank out one work order, we bring it to the board, they approve it, then they go to the next section that we need power at, and they crank out another work. So that's why they're coming piecemeal to you, because that's just the way AEP does it. We tried to get them to just do it all in one construction agreement, but they don't want to do it that way. So this is to get power at Sherry Road, at Glasscock Road, at Ware Road, and at Benson, and at 10th Street. It's in the amount of, let me see, this was 43, Ramon? $43,596.30, and so staff recommends approval.
Have they Sherry and Glasscock and Ware Road, that all those been installed already?
No, well, okay, Ramon?
Yes, sir. Ware Road, Benson, 10th Street, and the new one that we're bringing to you this month is the Anto Lewis Connect. But they are working, they've gone through engineering already. They should be out there. They have to buy this. Be out there by next month. After this, we're anticipating 4 more. Yes, sir. New locations.
Yeah, they're all new locations. This whole project is what they call greenfield, so it's new right away. So a lot of times there's no distribution system there, so they're having to extend it.
Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion to accept as presented.
Second. I have a question.
Yes.
So what, it says here something else. Contribution by AEP. What is it that they contribute?
No, they don't contribute. We have to contribute to them to construction. So it's all our cost.
So then, what does this mean? What is this contribution and aid of construction?
That's where we have to contribute to pay for that's what AEP calls their internal document, contribution to aid of construction. But that's basically we pay for it, and that's just their internal nomenclature.
I've got a motion and a second. Is there any other questions or discussion?
Chairman, if you don't mind, are these additions to our initial budget for this project?
No, this is included in our project budget.
Anything else? All those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item, Pilar.
Yes, 4B, resolution 2026-23, consideration and approval of work authorization number 8 to the professional service agreement with Quintanilla Headley and Associates to provide surveying services of drainage and irrigation facilities main lane gantries and Hidalgo County Irrigation District number 2 easements as part of the 365 tollway project. So we need to do some surveying out in the field for some additional information. The irrigation district has asked us to verify such as water surface elevations. Um, uh, and then we also need to go out and survey the main lane gantries to make sure they were built in the right location and right elevation so that the gantries are clearing the pavement. So we need to go verify that. And so this work is in the amount of $48,803. Staff is recommending approval.
Move for approval. Second.
Motion and second. Any questions, comments? We've got an abstention. All those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And Director Williamson abstains. Next item, Pilar.
4C, Resolution 2026-24, consideration and approval of contract amendment number 12 to the professional service agreement with Quintanilla Headley and Associates to increase the maximum payable amount for work authorization number 8. So this is just to increase the maximum payable amount. Staff recommends approval.
Do I hear a motion?
Motion. Second. So moved.
We've got a motion and second. All those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. With an abstention from Director Williamson. All right, Pilar.
Item 4D, Resolution 2026-26, consideration and approval of change order number 18 to that certain contract with Polis Construction Incorporated for the 365 tollway construction project. Chairman, Directors, one of the major facilities with irrigation number 2 that has been a point of contention is our bridge that crosses the main canal for irrigation district 2, which is their main canal that comes from the river. And so what was in the plans originally was to bypass the canal so that we could build our bridge over it. The irrigation district rejected that. We put in a box to bypass it, gravity. And then we came up with a solution to bypass pump it with large diameter, high volume pumps. They rejected that option too. And so after about a year of negotiating with them with different means and methods for construction, because that's really what it boiled down to, how it was going to be built, we came up with this solution, which is basically the columns for the bridge are going to be at the toe of the earthen canal. In other words, right at the water's edge. But to do that, we have to drill. We have to drill down into the earth. And so what they're going to allow us to do is put sheet piling, backfill it, and then allow us to drill. But what that does is that leaves the main canal open, which is what they want. They don't want the main canal disturbed. And it'll slightly restrict the flow, but not enough to be appreciable. And so that's the only method that they'll allow us to do because it does not take the canal offline. Where the bypass and the pumping would take the canal offline because we'd have to dam up the canal and then start the bypass pumping, or dam up the canal and start the gravity bypass. And this will allow the main canal to flow uninterrupted. And so this is the only method that the irrigation district has accepted to allow for the bridge to be constructed over their canal. However, that comes to the tune of $1,408,666.85. And so at this point, because this is basically the last bridge we need to build, staff is recommending approval. We feel like we've exhausted all the alternatives with the irrigation district to get this facility approved, and this is the only one they will accept to allow us to move forward.
Pilar, I did a little bit of research on this, and if you could help me out, the types of coffer dams. Do you have any illustrations? Do you have any pictures of what this is going to look like?
So
there
there
seems to be
is
about 3 or 4 different types. I'm not an engineer. I'm not going to play one either.
In your packet, let me see if I can find the page number. I thought we had a plan sheet in your packet showing it. Let me see if I can find it. But
Because they have the kind that you fill up with water, and then you have the kind that you.
no,
And we're gonna go in there and establish the line approximately 20 off the ditch and
mechanical hammer vibratory hammer. Gets a big sheet of probably 20 by 30 of iron and just sets it into the ground and vibrates it into the ground.
Inside the canal.
Into the canal. And that would establish the wall or a barrier that's going to be penetrable to the water. The contractor's going to go in there, backfill all that in to specifications and requirements. And the operation of the water keeps flowing through the middle of the sheet piling. And we would go in there and construct the necessary columns and vents that are required. They bridge appurtenances. On completion of all of that, those piles are once again removed. We want everything back.
That's $1.4 million.
$1.4 million. But the 1.4 is also inclusive of some of the bridge changes that the irrigation district requested. It's not all just which they originally came in at a cost of 2.3 million, and we went down and told them some of these changes aren't justified.
What percentage of the sheet pile?
I would say about 65% of that or 70% of that was the sheet pile. So,
Director, these are interlocking panels. So you set one, the next one interlocks until we basically build a steel dam. Then they pump it down, backfill it with dirt, and then they can set the drilling platform on it and then start drilling the drill shafts for the bridge.
Specifically does that work?
Here locally, it would have been someone like McAllen Construction or Foremost Construction now, Foremost Construction, but they've got specialists coming in from Houston that do that. It is a niche operation. You got to have the equipment.
And for these, I'm just curious how this works, but this is a contract we signed with this,
It's a subcontract of the main contract.
but we're not signing that ourselves, or is that?
No.
It's the contractor that's doing that.
Yeah.
Got it.
We
approve
approve the subcontractor, but we don't sign the contract. The contract is between the prime contractor and the subcontractor.
Understand. That's why we need to change order.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And just one recommended addition to the resolution would be to add language under the sections that the contractor assumes responsibility for coordinating with the utility as provided for in our contract. We've been back and forth on this issue, but for these three resolutions that are going to come up today, if we could just reiterate that we anticipate PCI coordinating directly with the irrigation district, I think that's helpful direction.
So do you want the motion to be approval subject to addition legal and adding that language?
Yes, please.
Second.
Yeah, very good. Kind of some of where I was going with that to try to understand this. So thank you for that, Blakely. That's good. All right. Well, that's the first one. Any
And
other
I
questions?
want you, you know the Stiver Engineering Group?
Engineering firm.
PCI retained Stiver Engineering to
I
design.
have not met any of them, but
You don't know their reputation, their experience, or anything?
HCR and I have been reviewing the work.
And we've sent that design over to the irrigation district too to sign off on it.
So the irrigation district feels comfortable with this as presented here.
Well, they're comfortable with the means and methods, but we sent them all the detail so they can go through it and make sure.
So we could approve this here and they still deny it?
Yes, sir. But we don't think they're going to deny it because they've agreed to this method, but they just want to go through the details.
That's what.
Yeah, we have a
Right,
meeting
but
with
they're
them.
the authority having jurisdiction. So if they
Yes.
change something, then this change order could be inaccurate. But it's coming before us because of time, I guess, because if not, we'll have to wait till next month's meeting.
Right. Yeah. But I don't foresee any.
Very good. We're going to be optimistic right now. So move forward. Any other questions?
I have a question, sorry. Chair.
Yes. No,
In
go.
the original plan, what was called for at this bridge crossing?
A gravity bypass.
Which is already installed.
which is already
And
installed.
that's why there's no credit for that original.
That's why there's no credit for removing those boxes. Which,
So they signed off on our plans. We installed what was on our plans.
and they
And
changed
now they're saying, we don't want to accept what's on the plans.
Right.
Just making
And-
sure I had it crystal clear.
Yeah, and just to give you, some context, the main canal, it's a very wide canal. It's about 105 feet wide, but it's super shallow. It's only 3 to 5 feet in depth. So it doesn't have a lot of head pressure on the earthen berm or earthen levees that hold it in its, hold it in place. But the district's main concern was that we were going to blow out the levee, which, in my experience, if it was it was really deep and had a lot of head pressure on it, that's a possibility. But it's a very shallow facility, but we couldn't make them comfortable with the bypass, and we couldn't make them comfortable with pumping, and the only reason they would go for this option is because it didn't require the main canal to be shut down at all. Yeah, it just restricts it. But we're able to maintain the minimum flows they require, where the other two methods would have required a shutdown of the canal for a period of time to tie in either the gravity bypass or tie in the pumping bypass. And that was their main concern.
Okay. Blakely, I assume you explored all the options. If they signed off on the plans, that or enforcement specific performance on it would take too long and is not worth the fight, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we'd be litigating against another governmental body. They provide water, we're providing additional transportation service. It would be difficult litigation, I believe. And they are a critical pathway in this project. Every time we can't work in the irrigation district, we lose real time. That's probably not covered by liquidated damages. And so they've been a problem.
So the cost of litigation and delays would be more than what we're spending for this.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, let's get all of it. So this is in the tune of 1.4 million.
Yes, sir.
So this pretty much doubles what we've approved in total change orders to this point. Is that accurate?
No, we've got we've got about $8 million worth of change orders approved to this date. Yeah, today.
Yeah, wait.
Yeah.
I don't know why I read somewhere cumulative of change orders of 1.4 million in someone's report.
In the first report.
Because that includes the value engineering, which was the savings.
Right. Well, but that's still counting.
Yeah. Yeah. But barely.
Okay. Any other questions? All right.
So
Do I hear a motion?
I would move to approve subject to legal adding the language concerning
Coordination.
coordination and indemnity. Okay.
I've got a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That pass. Next item, Pilar.
4F, Resolution 2026-28, consideration and approval of change order number 20 to that certain, oh wait, did I skip a change order?
Yeah.
Yes, I did. Here we go. Okay. Resolution 4E. Item 4E, Resolution 2026-27, consideration and approval of change order to that certain contract with Public Construction Incorporated for the 365 Tollway construction project. Chairman, directors, and this is basically for pipe that we need jack and bore and casing to jack and bore under Cage Boulevard. And so we needed to add quantities in to basically complete the project. 72-inch pipe, 30-inch casing, 15-inch PVC pipe are all the items that are shown in this change order. And the change order is in the amount of $512,121.53. Again, this is necessary to, we're crossing under cage, which is US 281. So we're coming up short on the quantities, and so this is necessary to complete the work. Staff recommends approval.
Is that the same location?
This is a different location. This is a cake.
Blakely, do we have the language here you want, or do we need to make another modified motion? I move to approve on staff's recommendation, subject to legal adding the coordination clause.
Second. Got a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? Go ahead. Okay. All those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Item 4F, Resolution 2026-28, consideration and approval of change order number 20 to the certain contract with Polis Construction Incorporated for the 365 construction project. Chairman, directors, we have some sluice gates in the project. Again, required by the irrigation district for their appurtenances. The sluice gates that were in the project had bronze hardware, which is a non-corrosive. However, the irrigation district has a preference for stainless steel, and so stainless steel hardware. So this is to upgrade the sluice gates, which is basically what controls the water coming out of the pipes or boxes in this case. And that is in the amount of $77,699.30 to upgrade from bronze to stainless steel hardware at the request of the irrigation district. Staff recommends approval.
Same question as Carlos asked earlier. This has been approved previously in the original contract, and that was changed
Yes.
at the will.
So we had gates with the bronze hardware in the plans that the district approved, and now they've changed their mind and say they have a preference for stainless steel.
A quick question for you. Did someone else on their staff approve the initial, even though they have the authorization to do it, but was there another review board, or is it the same reason, Sonny?
Sonny approved him originally, but if you all recall now, he's a consultant. He retired from the irrigation district, but he's on contract with them as a consultant.
Any other questions?
So when it says here that there was non-compliance of components, that's not exactly true, is it? Because they had approved the brass hardware originally.
I'm gonna have to.
And I don't know if this is.
You wrote
The memo.
in the memo that said all non-compliant components were listed and available and additional options for a particularly submitted model.
Yes, that was true. Some of the components, not all of them. They want now the bulbs. They've changed the detail on it. The contractor himself submitted a erroneous model up front, and rejected it. Okay? And after that, he got the correct one. He submitted it, and they said, no, now that you're modifying this, we want the bulbs, we want cap. Some of these were stem-based appurtenances that were stainless steel. 317 was requested stainless steel, and I think they had 307 on the models. So it's another upgrade and betterment that
The reason why I might be overly sensitive about the issue, but I've been involved in some of the litigation, this kind of litigation, and these things are always pulled up, and I don't want the contractor to be able to pull this up later on and say, look, you admitted you were giving us non-compliant components, therefore you're responsible for the delays because you're admitting here all these change orders are having to go through because of non-compliance.
correct. for the time impact, that is a, resolution we will have. There's-
Well,
I just don't like making admissions if they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if we don't have to make an admission that can be used against us, there's no need to make that admission. Especially if that admission isn't true.
well, I think in summary, what Ramon is trying to say is that the initial submittal was not the gate required, and then when they resubmitted the required gate, it did not have the preferred hardware that the irrigation district wanted.
I'll add just a comment, and that is that, again, and I'm repeating myself, but not being familiar with a contract of this nature and this magnitude, et cetera, but having attended at least one in-person meeting just to kind of try to get to the bottom of, why so many issues and why does these things keep coming up. But I think what I understand or have heard is that, well, it just kind of depends where you read what you're reading in the contract. And while there may be something in the contract, there's something else in the contract that's interpreted different. And that's kind of what's got us this far down the path and where we're at today. Obviously, I have no doubt that both institutions are operating in good faith and, trying to meet the letter of the law here. But, we're also trying to stay out of the legal battles and get the project done. So that's my comment on that. Any other questions or comments related to this? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Does this motion also require the modifications related? So I move to approve, subject to legal, adding the coordination clause.
Second.
Thank you. We've got a motion and a second. All those in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That passes. I think that gets us through the regular agenda, Pilar.
Yes, sir.
Do we have any tabled items? I
No.
see none.
No.
Then we'll go to item number 6, executive session.
Yes, sir. Recommend you entertain a motion to enter into executive session under item 6A, under section 551.074 of the Texas Government Code, and under 6E, under section 551.071 of the Government Code.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Executive session. Okay.
Motion to come back into, make a motion to continue regular session, come out of executive.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, back into our regular meeting. The next item would be adjournment, but just before that, I'd like to just say, as you know, we went into executive session for 6A, review of applicants for the position of executive director for the Hidalgo County RMA. And that is happening, and it's a process, and that'll continue. The process is not closed at this point. And just want to make sure that that's known. We've got several applicants that we've got applicants that we'll meet with. We've got other applicants that we'll potentially meet with. It's just a process we're going through right now. And so I just want to report that. Anything else?
Chairman, I do have a question.
Yes.
The new positions that I'm secretary treasurer. So when does that start? Is it as of this meeting, or is it
Yes,
as
yes.
of this meeting? Okay.
Yeah. So you'll have to sign the resolutions at the end of this meeting. Secretary.
Ah, very,
I just want to make sure.
Nominated other people.
very good. I want to thank everybody, staff and directors. I appreciate it. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second. Got a motion and a second. All those in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? We're adjourned. Thanks again, everyone.